Police Chief Archie Gamboa orders an internal probe into the birthday party of National Capital Region Police Office Chief Sinas. The surprise party celebration for Sinas was held May 8 in Camp Bagundiwa. Photos posted on the NCRPO's Facebook page show all those at the party wore face masks except when they were eating. But they did not only violate the government's ban against public gatherings during the Enhanced Community Quarantine or ECQ, but physical distancing rules as well. Interior Secretary Eduardo Año says the birthday celebration is, quote, a big no-no. He also says Sinas should have called it off right then and there. Sinas apologizes Wednesday, May 13 after news broke about the celebration. In a statement, he says, as a birthday celebrant, I was caught up with the traditional mañanita spontaneously conducted. It was never my intention to disobey any existing protocols of the ECQ. He also says the photos circulating in social media were edited and from old posts. The original post from the NCRPO page has been deleted. In a move to stifle independent reporting, the NCRPO on Wednesday removes Rappler reporter Rambo Talabong from its official Viber group after he wrote about the issue. Rappler in a statement calls this, quote, prior restraint on the freedom of the press and the right to free speech. The NCRPO is impairing Rappler's ability to serve the public's constitutionally guaranteed right to know. Filipinos online, meanwhile, call out the administration's double standards in implementing laws and policies during the coronavirus pandemic. Law is Law trends on Twitter Wednesday, May 13, together with Mañanita. User Ace Antipolo tweets photos from NCRPO's post of the celebration and says, law is law, but what is this? User @MeterVolley lists down the violated ECQ protocol and points out, law is law, but not for all. That's the reality. Other users also recall the murder of former military man Winston Ragos, who allegedly violated quarantine rules and was shot by a member of the Quezon City Police District, the very people who surprised Sinas with a party. They also point out government officials who breached quarantine protocols, such as Coco Pimentel and Mocha Uson, only got a slap on the wrist. The House of Representatives is now pushing to grant ABS-CBN Network a provisional franchise valid until October 31, 2020. Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano himself leads a group of 8 House leaders in filing a House bill for the franchise Wednesday, May 13. In a sponsorship speech, Cayetano defends the lower chamber for dragging its feet on bills that would have renewed ABS-CBN's franchise, which expired May 4.
Nothing can be more important to our people than the government defeating COVID-19 at this point in time. Yet, this is exactly what the NTC has unnecessarily forced us to do by turning back on its commitment given under oath last March 10 that ABS-CBN will be allowed to continue to broadcast.
The House plenary convenes itself into a committee of the whole Wednesday and approves the measure on the same day. The House bill can now be taken to the House plenary for its approval on second and third readings. Meantime, actress Angelica Panganiban trends Tuesday night, May 12, as she reminds the public the country grapples with the pandemic and media giant ABS-CBN is not the enemy.
Ang issue ay free mass testing. Ang issue ay yung pagbibigay ng ayuda para sa mas mga nangangailangan. Ang issue po ay ang pagiging handa ng ating healthcare system sa isang pandemya. Ang issue ay ang kawalan ng trabaho ng milyong-milyong Pilipino. Ang issue ay kung saan kukuha ng pagkain ang bawat pamilya. Hindi po ABS-CBN ang kalaban. Virus ang kalaban. Yan ang kailangan sugpuin. Yan ang kailangan nating sagutin.
The government's coronavirus task force changes its mind overnight about lifting quarantine measures in 8 low-risk regions. The regions of Ilocos, Mimaropa, Bicol, Western Visayas, Eastern Visayas, Northern Mindanao, Davao, and the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or BARM will be placed under modified general community quarantine beginning May 16 in response to the clamor of governors and mayors. Interior Secretary Eduardo Año says Wednesday there will be no area in the Philippines that is not under community quarantine. There will only be different levels. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque also announces partial opening of certain services and sectors under the modified enhanced community quarantine. Roque says only 50% of the workforce are allowed on-site. Several manufacturers and workplaces barred under the ECQ are now allowed to operate. Essential and priority public and private construction projects are also allowed to partially resume operations. Non-leisure mall shops can partially reopen as well. Outdoor exercise like walking, jogging, running, and biking are allowed as long as people wear masks and observe 2-meter physical distancing. Gatherings of a maximum of 5 people but still observing health protocols are also allowed. Schools and general quarantine areas can allow skeleton staff to go to the campus to process requirements and prepare for graduation. But barbershops, salons, gyms, karaoke bars, cinemas, libraries, museums, cultural centers, and personal care services are to remain closed. All tourist destinations, including beaches and resorts, travel agencies, and tour operators will also remain closed. The Health Department reports 11,618 cases of COVID-19 in the Philippines as of Wednesday, May 13, with 772 deaths and 2,251 recoveries. The Philippine economy may decline by 2% to 3.4% in 2020 due to the coronavirus crisis. This is a crash not seen since the Marcos regime. The Development Budget Coordination Committee says the pandemic's impact on the economy could reach 2 trillion pesos or around 9.4% of gross domestic product or GDP. Disbursements are estimated to reach 4.18 trillion pesos, slightly exceeding the program approved in March. This can cause a budget deficit of up to 1.56 trillion pesos. But the DBCC maintains the debt level remains manageable, especially as the Philippines enjoyed its lowest recorded debt-to-GDP ratio of 39.6% last year. Philippine imports and exports are expected to shrink by 4% and 5% respectively.